Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dave coming to you from the paddock here in Southern Maryland. It's still early. It's like 10:30 Monday morning. So happy new week to those of you who measure your weeks starting on Monday. We have a big job ahead of us today, and that is to try to get some basic education and understanding of the crypto market, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, however you moniker it. To say that we can do this right in a 30 or 40 or like yesterday, a 50-minute video is idiotic. So again, I say this video, this entire series needs to be the beginning of your journey of knowledge. It can't be watch this video and go do something, like go invest, right? Don't do that. Let's just start your investigation process, not be your investigation process. I'm just going to beat that bell on every one of these episodes. One, I don't want you to get pissed off at me because hey, I went and did what you said. No, you didn't. And, I don't want anyone to come after me thinking I'm giving financial advice when I'm not. I'm just trying to educate you and entertain you. So let's do pipe housekeeping. So what the heck am I doing here? So I went and watched Ethan's Parsimonious Piper's top 5 favorite cobs, and I didn't have this one. So like every other pipe owning moron who's got pipe acquisition disorder, I said, I got to have that. Why? I don't know. Because the 10 corn cobs I already have weren't enough? No, I didn't have Ethan's favorite. I love Ethan. I could have Ethan's favorite. So the acorn shape it's not a forever stem. It's Missouri Meerschaum's own acrylic stem, but it's good. It's way better than the little plasticky bendy ones. So anyway, that's what I'm smoking. And I'm still smoking the Black Irish Twist from yesterday because I had some rubbed out left over. So I'm going to start with the Black Irish Twist and then we'll move on to something else. I don't know what that is yet. It just wouldn't be a day video without me saying, thank you, Greg. It'll be a sad day when I forget to do that or just choose that it's time to not do that anymore. But it ain't today. All right, guys, let's go to work. Bitcoin is one coin. It is not a market. Bitcoin is one element of the cryptocurrency market or crypto. Bitcoin is by far the big dog in the room, the gorilla, the elephant, whatever word you want to use. It's the big dog. So lots of times people kind of misspeak and think of Bitcoin as the crypto market, but it is not. So we're going to talk about that. As usual, we're going to delingo some things. We're going to do a little bit of history. What is Bitcoin? It's air. It's computer code. It's entries in electronic ledgers. The ledgers are distributed worldwide in millions of computers, so supposedly nobody can hack them, and it can never be lost or deleted. There's just so many copies that I kind of agree with that statement. I mean, there are millions and millions there's probably tens of millions of copies of these crypto ledgers spread around. And keeping them synchronized and updated is actually part of the problem of the crypto world. Way out of scope of this conversation. Holy crap, that'd be a 10-day video. Bitcoin, all cryptos, Bitcoin has value because we choose to believe it does. Because it has no intrinsic value. You know, an ounce of gold is worth something because, one, we choose to attribute value to it, but I'm holding an ounce of gold in my hand. My cars have intrinsic value, and I can drive it. I can have it. My real estate, I can go stand on it. It has intrinsic market value in addition to my belief, or our shared belief, that these things are worth something. Bitcoin does not. Bitcoin has only the belief of the conglomerate of people who choose to play in the Bitcoin market. That's it. It'll never have any true intrinsic value. I'm not entirely sure that's bad. It's just very, very different than all the other asset classes. And that brings up the next point. Cryptocurrency has generated so much worth that it is now considered its own separate asset class. So you have precious metals, you have real estate, you have stocks, you have bonds, you have crypto. It's literally at that level. It's been given a cabinet level position, if you want to talk US politics, all right? So it's now equal to the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of Education. It sits at the table with the big boys in the investment world. Where did Bitcoin come from? How long has it been around? It was essentially announced, the existence of it was announced in a 2008 white paper written by some guy named Satoshi Nakamoto. There's a lot of speculation around who is this guy. There's no proof on the planet that this human being ever existed in any country at any time. And we're going to take a step into the oogie sides of conspiracy theory, but there are a lot of intelligent people out there who think Satoshi Nakamoto is a figment of our overlords, and it was actually created by an agency like the CIA or something like that. I'm kind of in that camp. I don't believe this dude did it. I believe an agency created it and put it out there. In order to see who would bite. For a long time, Bitcoin was sold as a substitute or an alternative to world currencies. When the US economic system crashed and the dollar went away, you could now use Bitcoin to buy things. And for a while, you could do Bitcoin like person to person or Bitcoin person to commerce exchanges. You could, buy a car with it. I think you still can do that, but that is really, in my opinion, diminished greatly in what Bitcoin is used for now. The buzz phrase you need to understand about what is Bitcoin in today's world, 2024 and moving forward, is that it is a store of value. You transfer wealth of a dollar, I don't care how much, $1 or $1 million, and buy Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin will hold that value. I don't think it's really intended to be an alternative currency anymore. So, 2008 white paper written by Satoshi Nakamoto. I believe it was not written by him. It was written by a more nefarious agent. And that it is currently being used as a store of value, and it has been promoted. It is worth so much now that its market cap makes it its own asset class. So we're going to go to the screens, and I'm going to give you some things to look at, some things to write down, some places for you to continue your journey of knowledge, but we're going to turn to the screens now for a little bit. All right, guys, so this website is satoshi-nakamoto.me. There's the actual URL. And this is where you can come in and actually read this. This is the origin story of cryptocurrency. I recommend you read it. You click on here. And this is the actual white paper that was released in 2008 that started it all. So I recommend you read it. The whole thing is 9 pages long. It's pretty dry. It's pretty boring, but it's 6, 7, and it's got math calculations that at least I don't understand, and it's got the code that's used to develop it, and then it gives its references. So the whole thing is 9 pages long. Take the time to read it. Okay, this goes into the conspiracy theory about who is this guy, or did he ever live? And this is on Forbes.com. What do we know about this guy? It basically says we know he exists because he wrote a white paper. Well, that's bullshit in my opinion. But then they actually do go in and say, is this guy real? And they say, well, there was somebody back here doing it, but they really don't have any idea who did it, who did these things. So then you see speculation down here. There was actually Elon Musk. You can see some other names. All right, so Nick Szabo, Hal Finney. You can see there's in the ledger, in the Bitcoin ledger, 1 million Bitcoins are registered to Nakamoto. So whoever owns 1 million of these bad boys is worth lots and lots of money. It's estimated that his net worth is 20 billion, whoever holds that. And again, I'll state again that I don't think it's a person. I think it's an agency. All right, here's a resource you just must become familiar with if you're going to go into this world. It's called coinmarketcap.com. Right here. And it comes in here and you can see all the coins. All right. So it shows you in rank order by market cap. Okay, so you can see Bitcoin is number 1. It's the big dog. Its current market cap right now, as we record this, is $1.3 trillion. The next one, and it's always been second, is Ethereum at $427 billion market cap. And then it falls off. There's Tether at 99 billion, BNB 62, Solana, XRP, USDC. We're not going to go through all of that right now, but I just want you to see that you come to CoinMarketBase and coinmarketcap.com, and you can see what all these things are actually worth. You can see this is the 7-day line, and this one is particularly interesting. USDC. This coin is meant to stay at $1. So if you put $10 into a crypto account and you buy USDC with $10, it'll be worth $10 in a year, or 10 or 20. And some people store their crypto money there until they decide where it should go, or they use it as the holding account. You buy a coin, it jumps up in value. You take all the profit out and you put it back in USDC to decide what you want to do with it. And so lots of times people move in and out of there, and it's called a pegged coin. It's pegged at its value is pegged at $1, and it never changes. You can see these changes: 0.03, 0.02, 0.01. You can see over here, it's intended to stay. So every day you come here, you'll see USDC $1. So there you go, guys. And this goes on and on and on and on and on. There are, from what I understand now, 9,000 different kinds of cryptocurrencies you can purchase. All right, guys, here's another asset you should be aware of. It's 8marketcap.com, and it's 8 because it's really infinite. See, so that's just how they do it. Bit of a gimmick, but it works. These are market caps of asset classes that I want you to see. You know, because one of the questions I would have if I were listening to this is this shit real? You know, and I just want you to see gold is currently its market cap in the world. All the gold available in the world is $14 trillion. And then look at some of these market caps. Microsoft is $3 trillion now. Apple's 2.698. Nvidia has really rocketed up this list. $2 trillion. Saudi Aramco, that is the state-owned oil company in Saudi. This is where a lot of the Saudi royal family's worth is. Amazon 1.8, Alphabet 1.6. The silver market is 1.3 trillion. And look at this, right below silver, guys. There's your Bitcoin. It's the 9th largest market cap in the world at 1.298. It is going to overtake silver as an asset class, I would imagine, this month in March. And you can go on down. There's Berkshire Hathaway, we talked about it yesterday. Here's Tesla. You can go on and on and on. But anyway, all I wanted you to see in this thing was to be aware that there's this infinite market cap, or 8marketcap.com, and that you can see by asset class that Bitcoin is pretty damn serious. Okay, guys, Bitcoins have an upper limit. It's a restricted asset. You can see right here, the code is limited. Only 21 million Bitcoin can exist. And it cannot go beyond that. It's hard coded into the code. And changing the code of Bitcoin is near impossible given the number of miners that would have to vote to change the code. So the general market consensus is that this is a hardcore cap and that it will not be exceeded. You know, some of you, and part of me wants to cry bullshit and say, well, as soon as 21 million is mined, they will go and create another 20 million. But in general, the investing world considers this an investable fact. You can invest based on the fact that only 21 million, and it's been around long enough that 19.5 million of the 21 million are already in existence, and 1.4 are left to be mined. And they won't be all mined till like 2040. Here you go, 2140. Here's a concept that I don't think this will not affect the value of your crypto if you choose to go here, but it's a concept you're going to hear about. It's called the halving, or the halving cycle. And what they do is every 4 years they cut the number of coins or bitcoins that can be mined or created in half every 4 years. So we're in a halving event. I think it's in April. It will get halved again. Here you go, right here. Currently, May 2020, it was halved down to 6 1/4. Could be mined at any one mining cycle, and it's going to be halved to 3.125 bitcoins. So that's 3. That number is so small now. I don't believe this story has any impact to you. If you go do any research about Bitcoin and the halving cycle, there used to be a 4-year value cycle where, as it approached the halving, it would explode in value and then fall off, and then explode in value and fall off. So there's this 4-year kind of sine wave effect on price. I believe that story is over now. Okay, guys, I need you to pay attention here. and listen to a minute, because you need to understand the concept of a Satoshi or Satoshis. So a Satoshi is to Bitcoin as is a penny is to a dollar. Bitcoins are made up of Satoshis in value. So it takes 100 pennies to make a US dollar. Okay? So I just want you to understand that concept, because we're going to talk about how many Satoshis it takes to make a Bitcoin, and we'll talk about why that's important in a minute. Okay, so you guys, what you see right here is one Satoshi, or sats. There's your lingo, right? Sats. One Satoshi is worth this much Bitcoin. All right, that's 7 zeros and a 1. So that means it takes 100 million Satoshis to make up a Bitcoin. And you can buy one Satoshi if you want. It'd be hard right now. Look, this is what one Satoshi is worth in US dollars. 0.00066. I don't even know what that is, right? So this would be a penny, a tenth of a penny, a hundredth of a penny. So 66 hundredths of a penny to buy one Satoshi. So you can buy into Bitcoin in tiny, tiny little increments. Okay. So let's say we want to see one Bitcoin. See that? One Bitcoin is worth $66,000. A lot of you don't want to put $66,000 into Bitcoin, and that is 100 million Satoshis. So if you want, you could buy 1,000 Satoshis, and it would cost you 66 cents. So let's say you want to put 5 grand into cryptocurrencies. You would buy 7,500,000 Satoshis, or 0.08 of a Bitcoin. And then you'd be fully invested in the Bitcoin world. So you just got to understand this concept of Satoshis to Bitcoin is as pennies to the dollar, but just at a much, much smaller scale. All right, guys. So I need you to pay attention now. It's another one of these. Stare at the screen and really listen to me. Currently, cryptocurrencies are outside of the world economic system. They are outside of the world currencies. So you can't just go buy it. And one of the things world governments have tried now for 10 years is to outlaw Bitcoin. And what they found out was they really couldn't. You know, too many people own it. It's too hidden. So you've stopped hearing about governments trying to outlaw it. I haven't seen an outlaw story in several years now. But you need to understand, you can't just go buy it. And you have to use what's called a gateway. And we're going to talk about gateways in a minute. And we'll go back to the screens and I'll show you. We'll Google up a list of gateways. The most famous, the most used, I think, is Coinbase, coinbase.com. I had an account on coinbase.com for several years. And I guess this is a good point to come clean. I currently own no cryptocurrencies. I'm not saying it's a bad asset. I owned a lot of cryptocurrency 4 years ago. And when it blew up, when Bitcoin got to like that $60,000 range, I sold it. I got out. Made me nervous. It was going up too fast. But I have to be honest, I made millions of dollars in the crypto market. I owned some altcoins, I owned Ethereum, I owned Bitcoin. And in fact, when I cashed it out, it paid for half of my Wyoming house. So I only had to pull half of my Wyoming house value, purchase price, out of my savings, and the other half came from the crypto world. So I've been there, I've made money, I've made lots of money. I'm not currently invested. We can talk about what I'm thinking in the future later, not right now. All right, guys, here's a daily price chart of Bitcoin over the last 4 years. And you can see today we are close to setting an all-time high set back in November of 21. I bought my house 2 years ago, so I sold it somewhere in here. But you can see this is why you want to be careful buying Bitcoin. Because you have these tremendous, I mean, it can make you and it can ruin you. It can make you, and is it going to ruin you or shoot up, right? The consensus is once it sets an all-time high, it's going to take off even further. I don't know if it's true or not, but you're starting to see more and more people buy into it. So I just wanted you to see what the 1-year price chart of Bitcoin is and why some people love it, some people hate it, some people are scared about it, and some people swear by it. It's proving to be a buy and hold asset. If you bought it 3, 4, 5 years ago and just haven't sold it yet and just gridded this out, it might happen again, but you'll grid it out and it'll keep going. So a lot of investors consider it part of a buy and hold. Like if you could hold it for 5 years, you'll be a rich man. That's the general consensus in today's investor world. All right, guys, how do you buy Bitcoin? One of the most recognizable ways since the beginning of Bitcoin was to go to an exchange and you put money in the exchange and then it leaves and goes out and buys Bitcoin for you. And the exchange itself can actually hold your Bitcoin if you want it to, but the general consensus is you want to hold it in what's called a cold wallet, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But here you see some of the biggest names. Kraken, so Coinbase is here, Crypto.com, Kraken, Gemini, Bitmart, Cash App, Bisq. So you just, again, I'm showing you, I'm back on Investopedia, free service. This is just a Google search, nothing too special here, okay? So I just wanted to show you there are a bunch of exchanges, and you just need to do your own research on if you're going to buy Bitcoin directly, which exchange are you going to use to do it. This is Investopedia's list of their top, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 7 right now that are being recommended by a kind of a neutral party. So this is certainly a great list of 7 to start your research on. I'm sure they go down and go through all of them. But we're not going to do that here today. I just wanted to get you to understand that you have to go to an exchange, create an account, link a bank account to it so that you can fund. You got to get funds to the exchange. Usually that's done through wire transfers or overnight ACH transactions. So you got to have an exchange account, and you have to have a funding account associated with it, or you got to go to a different way to buy Bitcoin. We're going to talk about that next. All right, guys, we're now on Forbes.com, another free site, doesn't cost you anything. And what you see here is their list of what they consider the best, guess what, Bitcoin ETFs. You can buy an ETF now that is based on the fundamental value of Bitcoin. This is brand new. This is probably less than a month old. One of the reasons people think Bitcoin is now going to explode in value is you have these monster ETFs that have to go buy Bitcoin so they have the underlying asset that they are selling you bits and pieces of. And this has exploded the buyer's market for ETFs. The buyer's market, the people who offer you like iShares now has to go buy lots and lots of Bitcoin. Invesco has to go buy lots and lots of Bitcoin. Grayscale has to do it. So, but just the theory is now you got the big boys playing in Bitcoin. That's good and bad, but at least for now, it means the buyer side of Bitcoin is exploding, and that's why you see the price chart. That's why you see this. That's why you see this right here, because this has been coming. This is January 25th. This is September last year. This is November of 22. So the rumors of ETFs being approved and then the actual approvals are really pretty much the argument. That's why this is happening here. There's other things, all the wars that are starting up, the weaponization of currency by the United States. That there's lots of reasons that are being talked about in the investment world why Bitcoin is exploding. One of them is it's not in the U.S. government can't weaponize it, and it's out of the reach of all government entities in the world. At least that's one of the thoughts. Okay, guys, I'm going to take you through my trading platform and show you each of these, or show you a few of these ETFs. So all I'm going to do is type these tickers in and let you see the daily charts. So we'll do the first one. Grayscale is GBTC. They've been around a long time. You can see them. You can see exploding. You can see iShares, IBIT. They're a new one, but you can see it's exploding. Invesco is BTCO. Same, you can tell they're all the same chart patterns. Bitwise, BitB. Same chart pattern. ProShares. They've been around a while, but you can see the same chart patterns. That's really all I wanted you to see. They're all the same. Almost doesn't matter which ETF you pick. I think they're performing the same. This one's different. This is BitX. You can see it's much steeper. And there's a concept I'd like you to get to understand here. So I'm going to bring this list back. We're talking about this guy right here. Okay, some ETFs allow you to buy a 2x or 3x performance ratios. So for every dollar Bitcoin goes up, this one goes up $2. For every dollar Bitcoin goes down, it goes down $2. So be very careful of these multiple ETFs. Sure does look good when the chart's going up, doesn't it? But it would look this bad going down if it turns the other way. So just be careful when you're looking at ETFs. What are you looking at? Be careful. The name normally has it in it. 2x, 3x. I think there's even 10x. Just be careful because you're leveraging your money. It looks good going up, but it really hurts going down. So guys, benefits and risks of cryptos. If you have no idea what you're doing, I would stick with Bitcoin. You don't see ETFs being generated for Ethereum or any of the other altcoins, the other 9,000 coins. The rumor is the return on Ethereum will be much better than on Bitcoin. I'm not going to speak to that. I don't know if I believe that or not. And the true rumor is probably that altcoins will vastly exceed the return you would get on Bitcoin. But which ones? You got to choose from the 9,000. Do you go with everybody else and go with the Cardano or the Dogecoin or Dogecoin, or I have no idea. I don't play in the altcoin market anymore. I just don't know which ones are going to go. 10 of them are going to be 1,000 Xers. You put $1 in, you get 1,000 back. You put 10 grand in and 1,000 times that. Ooh, boy, that is sexy, right? You pick wrong, you're going to get 0 back. The good thing is, in the crypto market, you can't lose more than you put in. There are markets that we're going to talk about in the next few sessions that you can lose more than you put in. So So if you want to bet, you're essentially betting, right? In my opinion, the altcoin market is essentially a casino with 9,000 entries. You can play 9,000 different games. If you want to play easy, buy the Bitcoin ETF shares. Pick one and pick one that's got the best fee structure, which they're all probably pretty low, and put $100 in and see what happens. Because you can do that in a regular trading account. You don't have to go create a gateway account and associate a bank account with it and all that. So if you choose the route of buying crypto, you have to, you pretty much have to go to a gateway, one of these exchanges that we talked about. They're also called gateways. The government has discovered that it's far easier to regulate the gateway companies. It's far easier to regulate Coinbase.com than it is to try to restrict or outlaw an asset class. And so that's why I think you've seen them stop trying. And they've gone to regulation on like Coinbase. If you do Google searches on restrictions on Coinbase, you'll see it. So you need to understand, I'm going to de-lingo KYC. Know your client, know your customer, KYC. You'll see a lot of KYC things pop up in investments, particularly in Bitcoin, because the government wants to know that you own Bitcoin and at what price you bought it at, and you make money because you're going to owe taxes on it. But they don't know if you own it or not. Now, I believe they can figure it out, but so what they do is they make the exchanges now or give you 1099. So if you buy crypto assets through the gateways, they'll put you through a KYC process where you have to upload your passport and your driver's license and all that. They intend to send you a tax form at the end of each and every year based on your asset class, just based on your crypto investments, just like everybody else. So if you were to buy mutual funds or you were to buy any other kind of investment in an investment account, you get a tax statement for that, and the government wants that. So I think they've kind of abandoned the fight against crypto and just said, well, let's just tax it like we tax everything else. And they're doing that through control of the gateways or the exchanges. So I don't believe in the anonymity of ownership of cryptos, which was one of the huge selling points for a long time. I don't believe in cryptos replacing world currencies, which is a second pillar in the crypto world for a long time. I don't believe in either one of those. I believe it is simply another asset that stores value, like gold, like silver, like real estate, like any other asset, right, that you own, that appreciates with inflation and other things, other market values. It's no different than any of those, in my opinion. It's generally it's a general consensus around crypto investors that Bitcoin, if you buy and hold it, if you can just put money in there, and this goes to that runway we've just beat the shit out of in every conversation we've had. Do you have the length of life physically? You can be alive. And do you have the runway that this money can go into these accounts and stay there for 3 to 5 years at least? If you have that, it's probably going to go up in value. It's probably going to be some sleepless nights when it roller coasters. You've seen the price charts. So can you move $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 into a Bitcoin ETC and then watch it go from 60 to 40 to 30 to 50 to 60 to 80 to 40? Or are you just going to have a bunch of sleepless nights? Know thyself, buddy, right? It's up to you if you want to play in this market or not. The ETFs make it a very easy way to do it. You don't have all that gateway bullshit and all the restrictions that I think are going to keep coming on it. You just have to know you're going to get a capital gains tax bill when you choose to cash out the asset. I think that's true of absolutely every asset, right? You buy a house and it goes up from 400 to 600,000 and you sell it, they're going to tax you on the capital gains tax rates of that 200 grand. There are assets that may not be true of. I mean, if you hold gold and silver and you actually hold it physically and really nobody knows you have it, and then you sell it in 10 years for 10 times, I'm not sure how they're going to handle that. With Bitcoin, I know how they're going to handle that. You're going to get the tax statement through your gateway or your exchange, or you're going to get your 1099 from your investment company. It's just the facts of life. Paying taxes means you're doing well, by the way. If you're paying income tax, it means you're making good income. If you are paying capital gains tax, it means you chose your capital investments properly. So just that alone isn't a reason not to play. You have to decide if you think Bitcoin is an increasing or appreciating asset class or not. There's also general consensus that the value of Bitcoin will go from its currently, $63,000 per Bitcoin today. And remember, you can invest in micro increments of that. So if you go through the exchange process, you can buy at the Satoshi level, which is cents, or you can buy entire Bitcoins at 63K a pop. That's up to you. If you do it the ETF, you can do it down to the dollar. Just, you decide how many dollars you want to buy, and the exchange will sell you that many shares in the ETF. So how much money you have to invest in crypto has nothing to do with the price of Bitcoin. I have tried to dispel this. All right, guys, this is one. Listen to me. Look at me. Look at your screen. You don't have to buy a Bitcoin. All right, it doesn't work that way. That'd be like saying you have to buy an entire share of a stock when in fact you can buy it at any increment up to down to I think you can't use anything smaller than $1, but you can buy Bitcoin. You can buy any share of a Bitcoin. All right, so don't sit here and go, I can't afford $63,000 to buy a Bitcoin. That's not how you want to think. You want to say, hey, in my investment strategy, I'm going to put 5% of my investment portfolio into crypto, and whatever number that is, you just put it into an ETF if you want, or you can put it through the exchange. So it's the dollars that you wish to allocate to crypto in your portfolio that you need to understand. And then you just apply that into the market. You don't have to divide that number by $63,000. You don't have to buy in whole Bitcoin increments. Man, that's hard to get people to understand. All right, there's general consensus that the Bitcoin value is going to explode. You got banks buying it. You got all these investment companies, these big boy players. Now they're going to start offering it to 401ks. So the buyer side of the equation is exploding as we watch this video. And that will probably continue for most of this year. If you can hold Bitcoin for 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, you're probably going to see it go from 60,000 to 100,000 to 300,000, maybe even to 500,000, and potentially 10 years out, it could be $1 million asset. Once the supply dries up, which it pretty much is, we've got 19 of 21 million done. You have to decide if you believe it. You have to decide if you believe they're going to hold that ceiling on the asset. Don't bet your farm, right? So I think the last part of this video should be, what am I thinking and what am I going to do? I left the subject out that we need to talk about, cold wallets. Remember, taking you back to the screen, because it's critical that you understand if you decide to go through the exchanges or the gateways and buy actual Bitcoin yourself, where you are going to own, where you will be an entry in the worldwide ledger, where you own these cryptocurrencies. Where do you keep it? Where do you store it? The easy/lazy option is let the exchange you buy it on store it for you. is generally considered a bad idea. Some of these exchanges have been broken into and their Bitcoin keys have been raided, taken out. Once they have access to the keys, they're gone. They can't be brought back. There have been some cases where some of these exchanges have crashed and lost the data. Now, that was probably back in the pirate days of the Wild West of cryptos. I imagine these entities that are buying and holding them now demand a much more secure environment. So maybe it's different today than 4, 6, 8 years ago. But it's generally considered bad cryptocurrency management policy to let the exchange you purchase these things on then hold your Bitcoin or hold your keys, if you want lingo. So the other option is to pull it out of the exchange and pull it onto a device that you keep and that you keep somewhere like in a safe or a vault, probably not a safety deposit box. And then this device, this cold wallet, and there's two major ones we'll talk about in a minute. It's a USB key. It's this big. And if you have $1,000 on it, no big deal. But if it explodes and you end up having 100,000 or several 100,000 or millions of dollars in the crypto world stored on this thing becomes pretty important, because if you lose it, you're SOL. You ain't getting it back. You've lost the crypto. And there are several million lost Bitcoins in the ledgers. They don't know who owns them, and people have lost their cold wallets. So that doesn't sound a whole lot better than letting it stay on the exchange, does it? Now, I, being my aggressive self, I have cold wallets, and I stored all my crypto. I pulled all my crypto out of the exchanges and stored them on these devices. I had 3. I created backups, so I had 3, and I stored them in different vaults in different places. That's all done now. I'm done. I'm out of crypto, like I said earlier. So let's go to the screens and talk about cold wallet storage. All right, guys. So we're back. We're back at Forbes. They're one of the trusted names. They do great research, and they have and these two names. I just wanted you to see it online, but these two have been the top 2 cold wallets since cold wallets were created: the Ledger and the Trezor. These are the 2. I wouldn't even go on and look. I mean, you can do it. I mean, they don't even go on. They only list 3. I've never heard of this one, which doesn't mean jack shit. I'm not the expert. But these are the 2 I do know. So the Ledger cold wallet and the Trezor cold wallet. And so let's go look at it. Here it is on Amazon. You can buy the thing for $149, and it's a USB key. That's all it is. Look, they've even got to the point where you can have different colors now. That's kind of funny. All right, so there's one cold wallet. You can buy it on Amazon and be at your house tomorrow. And here's the other one, the Trezor. The Trezor Model T is the one I use. This is the one I have several of these laying around. You know, they're zero value to me now, but this is what I use. If I were to go back into it, this is what I would buy. The Trezor Model T, $179 on Amazon. Be at your house tomorrow. So guys, this is enough. You know, it's enough to get you started. It de-lingos some of the top lingos. At least you now understand what is cryptocurrency, how to buy it, who's buying it, ETFs, market caps, where to find the coins, how to evaluate which coins you want to buy, exchange storage or hot storage versus cold wallet storage. And I guess the last part is to answer your questions, like, what do I think? I guess you guys keep asking me, what do I think? So I'm going to go ahead and give you what do I think next. I'm choosing to believe in crypto. There are a lot of things I don't like. I don't like the origin story. I don't believe the origin story. I don't like the Satoshi Nakamoto, which I believe to be a BS story. I don't like that they've lied to the population, that it's untraceable and no one will ever know if you buy it or use it. I don't think that's true. But unemotionally, I'll tell you that I believe the asset class is going to be increasing in value. I believe Bitcoin and the other Ethereum and the other altcoins are going to be an appreciating asset over the next 10 years. Not straight line. It's not going to be a linear. It's not going to be 63 today and then every day it goes up $1,000. I don't believe in that, but I do believe it's an asset that you can buy at 66,000 or 63,000 today, and in fact, it will be worth times 2, times 3, times 4. And so it's a way to put some money aside that could double, triple, quadruple for you. And I will probably participate in the crypto market once again. I will probably choose to put a tiny percentage of my personal net worth into an ETF or two. I don't like single points of failure, so I'll probably pick two and divide it up. So let's say I decide to put 100 grand into crypto. I'll probably put 50 into one ETF and 50 into another ETF and just let it sit there for years. That way I get rid of this whole hot storage, cold wallet, gateway regulation and all that, and I will just get a 1099 when I choose to sell it someday. I don't know what else to tell you. This is a monster topic. It's brand new to the world. The investment, the Wall Streets of the world are just now getting into it. These big investment banks as buyers, 401ks, retirement plans, pension plans, more and more people are going to be turning to it as a way to divest or, spread the risk around. One of the things that underlies this whole discussion, and we'll have to create a whole episode on it, is assets that are valued in dollars will increase in value as the value of the dollar decreases. A dollar that's worth $1 today will eventually be worth 90 cents in a year. I don't even know. And then 70 cents and 50 cents. And if I bought $1 of Bitcoin today and the dollar gets cut in half and is worth 50 cents, then the Bitcoin I've purchased or the gold I've purchased or the silver I purchased will eventually be worth twice what I pay for it. So there's that. That's helping the value of these dollar valued assets. The other thing will be the appreciation of this scarcity of source. The source of Bitcoin is getting scarcer. The number of Bitcoin is capped while more and more people begin to chase the asset. So as buyers increase and sellers decrease and supply gets locked, it's demand, right? Demand versus supply, classic charts. So I choose to believe in this. I choose to believe in it as an asset that will appreciate, and I leave all the other bullshit behind. I don't really care if there's a Satoshi or not. I don't really care if the CIA created Bitcoin or not. I don't care if the government can figure out if I own Bitcoin or not. I just choose to look at it unemotionally as another investment, another class, another asset class to spread, to diversify my personal net worth. How you view it, know thyself. You have to get in there and figure it out. don't need the money that you put into this asset class, because you're probably going to need to leave it in there for years for it to do what you're hoping it will do. Don't do this if you don't have the gut to watch it get cut in half on paper on its journey. There's a good chance it'll get cut in half. I believe there's a meadow on the other side of that rocky slope. But I have the money. I can move money into this asset class and just let it sit there forever. I don't need it. I won't put money that I need to pay a bill or for my kids' college funds into this asset class. I wouldn't do it. And if you got a 2-year-old and you won't need their college fund for like 16 years, that's different. But if you needed it to make a house payment or your real estate tax payment or whatever your bills are, be very careful about using any of that kind of money that you need to go into this asset class. I think you'll get hurt. All right, guys, that's it. That is the end of our Bitcoin crypto preachy sermony session. I hope it helped. Ask questions. It's a brand new topic for most of us, so I think you're going to have questions. So ask them. We can do a second crypto session based on your questions, and that's true for all of these vids, by the way. Guys, that's it. We're going to pull this all together and get this thing loaded. We will talk to you later. Bye, you guys.